Hey, I thought I'd do another video, this time showing my grading process. This is all ungraded. This was a video I originally posted when I first got the Nikon ZR. Would be nice to grade the shots. So let's grade it together. First things first, let's have a look at this timeline's settings. Just go into timeline settings. This is how I'd originally edited this timeline, but I want to do a standard IPP2 workflow. So let's go here, DaVinci RGB, set the timeline color space to red wide gamut RGB and log 3G10. And then the output color space, I'm on a Mac, so I'm going to say Rec 709A. If you're on a PC, pick Rec 709 if you're doing standard dynamic range. So this gives us a nice log image, a log 3G10 image. So first thing I want to do is just show you what it would look like. The way I think most people who haven't really looked into how to work with log 3G10 would probably do it this way, which is you take a color space transform, and the input color space and the input gamma is, I'm going to leave it at timeline because as you saw me do, the timeline is already using the red wide gamut RGB and log 3G10. So all we have to do is set the output color space. Rec 709, Rec 709A. Okay, great. So it doesn't look half bad, right? Let's see the ISO. Okay, 400 ISO. Great. Now I'm going to apply this same CST to the rest of, I'm going to say apply grade. So now we have a CST on everything here. I'm going to make a second version of the grade. So let's go, let's say local version. Actually, this one, let's rename it. Let's call it CST. Create a second version for all of the shots. And this one I'm going to call it IPP2. I'm going to apply this nice starting point that I like to use, which is something I'm going to go into the details of. Let's apply the grade. So I have various nodes. A lot of them are just placeholders. So this first one is noise reduction, where I use neat video on some clips that appear noisy. Then I have a blank node here where I'm going to do any kind of exposure or contrast. Here it's some sort of additional white balance or color effects. Then I have 3 empty mask layers, maskings, for any kind of local adjustments I want to make. Then here there are 2 things I've done that I just apply to out of the gate to everything. It's very subtle actually. Let me open up something like this where it would show. Okay, this makes it appear way more obviously. So this is the original, and then this is with the adjustment I did. So all I'm doing really is in this first node, I'm just, as you can see, making some slight tweak to the blues. I'm pushing them a little bit towards cyan. If you have a look at this vector scope, you'll see what's going on. And then here, the magentas that are a little closer to red, I'm pushing them more towards red. Magenta that's a little more blue, I'm pushing it more towards blue, and I'm bringing in the saturation of the magenta as well. It's not doing much here, but it does sometimes. This is really what's doing a lot. It's taking the color cast created by this guy and making it more pleasant according to my sense of what I like. Okay, so one thing I'll do when I'm looking at an image like this and deciding what kind of adjustments I want to make, assuming I like this overall base here, which I more or less do, I like looking at the image in black and white to see if there's any specific areas that I want to add more contrast or brightness and others I want to add more darkening. So for example, I think what I'd want to do here is brighten the area where she is, and add a tiny bit of exposure. So we're talking about 1/3 of a stop here. And then on this, I probably want to darken a little bit. Maybe I'll use a gradient. Okay, and then I'm gonna see what this looks like before and after. Let me get rid of the overlay. So I think your eyes might go more to her, which is good. Now let's bring the color back into it and see what that looks like. So this is before, and this is after. I think we're directing your eye to the right location. So I like that. Here, let's go back to this shot. With this shot, oh, first thing I wanted to show you is that I'm toggling between the color space transform version and then the IPP2 version. So here there's a LUT, which is a technical LUT. All right, it's this. I've set it to the high contrast with very soft roll off. Normally, here I'm going to reveal the selected LUT. Normally, the in-camera preview shows you this, the medium contrast and medium roll off here. But I think I like this as a starting point. It's punchier and still has a decent roll off here. You know, we could go even softer if we wanted, but I'm just happy with this. So one thing you can do if you like any of the RED Creative LUTs, you can apply that just before your, or frankly anywhere, before this output transform. So let's call this, let me give this a label, RED Creative. And I've got a folder of them, like I would recommend you do, where I've taken the name, but I've also added the description that they come with in the documentation. There's a PDF where there's an explanation of what the various looks generally look like. Some of them don't have any explanations. I suppose they were added later on to the LUT pack, I guess. But like for example, let's say you want to use film bias. You know, I've applied it there. It's pretty subtle, isn't it? Or let's try this film bias offset, which is I guess more of that traditional orange and teal look, which, you know, doesn't look bad. I mean, it's a nice style. You know, maybe that's something to apply to the rest of the clips here. Let's keep it for now, and you know, let's play this shot, because obviously the lighting is fluctuating quite a bit based on what the billboards are doing. But like, I don't know, what's a nice average frame? So if we look at this as a black and white image, I think I would want to boost them a little bit so that they stand out a bit more. Now, obviously the easiest thing would be to go in and do this, right? Create something here. And we can, it's going to brighten the background though too. So another approach we could take is to use the magic mask and mask them out very specifically. But if we're going to do that, maybe it's better to just create a brand new corrector here and connect that to the original image. I'm going to just call this magic, because the thing I've noticed with magic mask is if you, let's say I were to put it here or there or something like that, any changes you end up doing here upstream of that magic mask can cause the magic mask to disappear and need to be retracked. So if you just have it here, as long as you're not making any changes to the camera raw after the fact, I think that magic mask should stay put. So I'm going to go ahead and let's turn this on, and let me pick all the points that I need here to get them both and get their phone. Let's zoom in a little bit. Let's make that better so that the hair and the fine edges of their coats are also included. And then let's track this. I mean, that's not a bad speed. It's probably worth the time it takes to track. It's a short shot. They're just sort of standing there, so we know it's gonna work just fine, I think. Okay, good. So let's turn that back off. So now we have this mask. I'm going to feed it into the alpha input of this node here, first mask. And then what I want to do, let's zoom out. So I want to brighten that. I want to brighten them. Let's go to the HDR. Let's give them a little bit of extra exposure. I mean, that might be good. That's like a third of a stop, roughly. And maybe anything more than that might be really pushing it. So let's have a look with the color back on. And now they really stand out. So let me just toggle that. That might be a little too much, frankly. So let's knock it down to maybe 0.2. I mean, that's better. Let's see how it looks when we play it. That's pretty good. They're definitely standing out, but not too much, I don't think. Okay, another thing I might consider doing here is, I think I want to emphasize this shape here, the leading lines of that background architecture. And let's just give it a shot. So let me go here, let me do this. Okay, so now imagine, okay, I haven't feathered that at all, but let's just see what happens when I brighten that. Is that helping or taking away? You know, maybe instead of doing that, maybe we can use the inverse of that, and then we can darken everything that's above them, like those signs and stuff like that. Maybe that will look better. So let me toggle that. Okay, that might look cool. Obviously it's going through his face there, so there might be some way we can use the alpha output here and then invert it. Let's go to the, and okay, I think that gives us what we want. Oh, of course though, we need to track that mask that I drew, and then we're gonna feather it too, don't worry. But let's go to the tracking panel here and go ahead and track that. Good. Now I'm gonna hide this overlay and I'm gonna look into softening this. So we could go like that. We could also go like this. Let's play that back. That looks pretty cool. So remember, let's start from the, I think that looks pretty good. And then this, that's on them. Let's compare that to the CST version with no grading on it. That looks like this. Cool. I like it. It's pretty bold. Oh, one thing I noticed here. Look, it's brighter here and then darker up there. So maybe we need to adjust that mask a little bit. So let's create some additional polygons here. Let's go like this, go like that. Okay, but we want to make sure that it's intersecting in the right way. There we go. That's good. And let's do a little softening here and a little softening there. And then we're going to have to track that as well. Okay. Let's see how that's looking first before we do the other one. Okay. That looks good. And we'll do the same here. Create one more. Hopefully that's going to track. There aren't too many features here, but I have some blanking lines on. So under the blanking lines, there would be some features. Let's soften that a little bit, soften that a bit. Whoop, too much. Okay, and then remember the right. There we go. That's the right operation. Go and track that. So hopefully that all tracked just fine. Yeah, that looks good. Let's play it in full screen. Looks good. I'm not catching any issues. So I'd call this shot done, frankly. And let's move on. Now, I won't go through everything, but we'll do a few of them just so you have an idea of the general workflow. So do we want to apply this RED Creative LUT? Sure. Let's go over there. Okay. And let's look at masking. I think again it's a situation where leading lines like here in this lattice would be nice to emphasize those, in my opinion. So let's go ahead and do this. And let me hide the overlay. So what do we want to do to that? Now, I could just boost the exposure, but I don't want the dark areas to brighten. I just want the bright areas to brighten. So Shift H, and then we can adjust this so that only the areas I'm interested in are selected. So I think that might do it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's pretty good. So let's hide that. Now let's give it some more exposure. Look, if I go up half a stop, that's what that is giving. And I'm going to hide that. We want to track this too. There's not a lot of motion, but there is a little bit. Okay, great. Now let's give it that black and white look again and see if there's anything else that needs to be done or I'd want to do. I mean, frankly, in black and white, it does make me want to make this brighter. Why don't we try the exposure and see what that does? That looks pretty cool. That looks pretty good. Turn off the black and white. Let's turn this on and off. Let's play it back. Oops. Good. So one issue that's cropping up here is noise. Because we're boosting this area here, there is some noise. So let's turn on the noise reduction and see what that is doing. I'll take you through it from scratch here, building a profile. If I try to build a profile, it's going to pick an area that is uniform. I don't know. I think my guess would be it would pick like something like this. Let's try it. Okay, well, it picked that. Although that's fairly high in the midtones, it's not really a shadow noise, so that might not give us the best results, but let's give it a shot. The way I have my settings here, my noise reduction settings, is I have temporal noise reduction set to a radius of 2. Quality normal is fine for me. Spatial, I've disabled. And this mix with original, I have it so that we're seeing 25% of the original luminance and 75% is the filtered luminance. I'm not doing spatial because I find that can get rid of detail too much. Temporal also gets rid of detail, but that's why I do a little bit of mixing. And I don't mind losing detail a little bit in the chrominance channels, but definitely not in the luminance. So let's go ahead and see what happens here with this image. I was seeing noise in the lattice, right? And it's doing a good job cleaning that up. Because we're looking on YouTube, I'm going to zoom in a bit more. So that's good. I like that. Now I also have a grain which I apply just to the highlights to sort of take over where the grain of the camera naturally ends, because the grain of the camera works mostly in the shadows. So if I were to, for example, where can I find in this image where that would show? I think it needs a little bit more grain strength. So look, let me go extreme and you can see it's a lot. We don't want that much. Something like this might match that. This is what we're trying to match. So look, this is without it, this is with it. Oh, look, it's really doing a lot here. Maybe then we're doing too much. Or we can reduce how much, where it's being applied in the image. And what I have is I've turned off the hue and saturation, but in the luminance I'm applying it only to this area. And let's pull it back a little bit from the highlights. No, it doesn't seem to be doing what I want here. See, look, that's applying everywhere, which I don't want. I want it to be just applying to the highlights. Higher end, let's say, not necessarily the highlights. So that might be okay. Let's play that. Oh, that's a little too much. What if I increase that? I mean, that's all right. Look at the noise here, which is from the camera itself, and then the noise that we're adding here. I think that seems okay. So it sort of feels like film grain, I think. I'm going to turn it on and off, right? If you play that back, look, there's grain there, but there's nothing here. So this is kind of more of a texture management kind of situation here. And look, keep in mind, look how small that is as far as detail. So what am I thinking about this RED Creative LUT? I don't know. I might not want to use it. Or if I do, maybe I just want it being applied in the shadows, because I like how it's cooling down the shadows. But I don't really love what it's doing to the highlights and to yellow colors. They seem to be pushing. If you look here, you see that they're pushing more towards red, and I don't necessarily need to do that. So why don't we try to put this through a qualifier, and let's say in the luminance, let's turn on the luminance here, and let's not have it do anything to the highlights, right? You see that transition? And then let's smooth that out a bit, maybe a lot. And let's see exactly what this is doing now. Okay, so it's doing very little to the highlights, still doing some shifting, but most of what it's doing is in the shadows. Maybe I can afford to pull it over a bit more. That's pretty good. Let's see what it looks like in this previous shot too. Let's go back. Let's apply it here. Let's turn it on and off. Like, you can look at this pillar. It's doing something here clearly. That might be okay. All right, so let's leave that. Let's maybe give some noise reduction on this one as well. And normally once you made a good profile, you can just copy it to other clips, especially if they're all shot at the same ISO sensitivity. But let's make another auto profile, and it picked there, which is good. Is there a darker area we could sample for some additional, maybe right here? So if I go like this, so we're waiting for that to turn green, and it will turn green if I pick a big area, but it's not all uniform there, so I guess I can't use that. Let's see what happens when I apply that. That's good, great. And then let's go back to this grain node here, copy that, come over here, and then paste it. Okay, so let's render this out, or cache these frames so we can see what it looks like. Oh, did you see something? I just noticed this guy's walking through here, and he's walking through our pillar situation. So we're gonna have to do something about that. That's the only part of the shot that's a problem right now. So what we could do is track him, create a magic mask for him as well. Let's let it cache so we can watch it playing back in full speed, and then decide what to do about that guy. It's brief, but we could fix it. So I'm going to go back to I'm going to say add node corrector, and again I'm going to have this connecting to the original image. Go to the magic mask, sample him. That's really all we need of him. Maybe let's do it. Okay, so we got the whole thing. Let's say better. Good. That now includes the motion blur, looks like, which is great. We just need to subtract his mask from this mask. First of all, let's track forward. What happens when I track reverse from here? Wow, that's some smart tool right there. Look at that. Even with these people in the way, it was able to latch onto him again. That's pretty amazing. So we have that, and where are we applying it? Nowhere yet. So we need to apply it to this. but we already have an input here. So we need to do a key mixer, I think. So this will let you do, so let's disconnect that. Let's go here. And then this one, let's go here. And then bring that both of those into there. Did we lose something? Let's hide this. Let's go back here into this mixer. So, okay, I've found the right combination of masks and alpha states. So what I did was I created a key mixer where I piped in this magic mask of the couple and then this magic mask of the guy walking behind them, and I sent it to this mask here, which is applying the various masking here. And the way they intersect together is like this. So we've got this one that's creating a mask, and then these two, you gotta click this and this, and then so basically you just have to try various combinations until you get what you want. So let's play this back. Whoops. Success. That's great. Okay, this shot's done. Okay, so now honestly, if you look at this, what goes through my mind is like, why don't we darken this completely? So let's go to this mask and like, I feel like that would be more interesting. Like if we're looking here as a black and white image, and then I would add more contrast to these areas too. So let's track this. And as for where I'd want to add contrast, it could be overall. So let's go here. That might be nice. This mask, why don't we do a little bit of a, why don't we try something like this, a little gradient. Maybe not that extreme, maybe something like that. And let's give that less exposure. But I don't want it to start up there, I want it to start lower. That's a lot of exposure to drop. Let's see what it looks like in color. It could be good. This might need to be feathered a bit more though. Something like that. Let's track that. Good. So let's look at this shot. I mean, I almost want this area to be brighter too. Let's use this third mask. In this case, let's do this. Okay, so let's hide all of these and show them and see what we think. Yeah, so this was very flat and boring, and that's a lot more exciting. Let's see what it looks like in motion. We'll probably need some noise reduction on that too, so let's apply that. And I don't know that there's any good sample frame, so let's go with what is. So that looks pretty good to me. That was our original shot. Very stylized, but cool. I mean, maybe I could walk back some of that, but for now I'm gonna just move on. So here we have this image. I think here we definitely want to do some masking. We want to make this guy stand out more, and this isn't a case for magic mask. I think here we're just gonna go ahead and do something like this. Give him a little bit more exposure, just a little bit. And then this really takes up a lot of my attention. So I'm going to see what happens if we just go like this and then really soften that out. Okay, and let's give this some darkening. Let's see if that's enough. It's subtle but good. And this third one, I mean, I think we could go. Actually, maybe this is a case where we want to take this ISO and change that like that, and then give this one more mask here. And let's brighten this. Okay, ready? Look, I mean, it really changes the character of this. So what happens when we move, when we press play? Oh, good. That's good. So versus this, which is kind of messy. That's better. Versus this. That's good. So let's compare this. So this is what that color warp does well. This particular one here, making it more magenta, kind of making it, I mean, less magenta and less blue, more cyan, which I like. Compared to this. Here, let me do this guy. So this light is so cool in temperature. I might want to go ahead and change this, give him a little bit more warmth. And then masking here, I think what I could do is, I'd like this and him to stand out more against that background. So what if we did something like this? And let's do that to select the rest of the area. And let's soften that, soften that. Let's see what happens. Let's track it. That's pretty good. Maybe if I look at it in black and white. Oh yeah, I see. I want to brighten this whole area here. So let's do that. That looks better. This mask, do you need to track it? Sure, let's track it. Okay, let's play this. And there's some noise, as you can see right there. Let's noise reduce this, add that grain. That's good. Let's compare it to the other one, which was blue. So not a great direct comparison, but much better. Okay, well, that's it for today. See you next time.